Hello guys, welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to get back on the channel. Darren Tetley, it's a pleasure getting you on as always. And yeah, we are here to predict the Anthony Joshua Francis Ngannou fight and undercard. And yeah, pleasure getting you on as always, Darren.
Yeah, always, mate. Same to you. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Anytime, mate. And yeah, um the first fight's Andre Novdataxi v Juan Torres. That's 8 rounds in the heavyweight division. Andre's 9-0 with 8 KOs. Torres is 11-5-1. If I'm honest, don't know much about either. Safe to say. Not have you watched them fight before? I think I may have watched that Andre once, but I mean he does sound like a bit of a machine at the moment. So yeah, I would say probably, but I know Torres is tough. He likes the body work. I'm not sure if you've seen the weigh-in and the press conferences, but the height difference between the two of them is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I've not. I've to be honest, like you said, I've not really heard of either of them. But I'm guessing he's just obviously the 9-0 kid. Will be like the home favorite and probably trying to make him be the next best thing, I would imagine. And going up against someone with what is it, 17-5 or 11-5? Did you
Eleven
say?
and five with a draw.
Yeah, 11-5. So it's probably a little bit of a step up for him. And has he been stopped before or?
Hang on, let me have a quick look. No, no, he hasn't been stopped.
Yeah, so that'll be obviously one now. He's stepping up, and I think he'll be. I think anything less than a stoppage for him, I don't think He'll probably not be happy.
I mean, I do expect him to get the stoppage. Whether, I think this Torres is durable. I think he'll make him work, but I don't think it'll be a tough fight for that Andre. But you know what I mean, like a durable opponent, he's not going to go down first shot like easily. But I do expect Andre to get I'd say maybe it's an 8 round fight. I'm gonna say maybe round 4 or 5 for Andre Novzitsky.
Yeah, I think obviously when they step up like that, it's more you know he'll be looking for a stoppage, and I would imagine it's about the performance that he puts on. If he doesn't look cracking and he gets a stoppage, he might not be happy. And I think on a show of that magnitude, he's going to want to look to put on a statement. He's obviously a massive puncher, and you know, I think it's hard in it because he's stepping up. So probably your prediction is probably not bad. I'll probably say inside the first half.
Yeah, so you're saying first four then for Andre Novzinski.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I think so. I think obviously if he's going to want to look to put on a show, and I think he won't want to versus an experienced guy. He probably won't want to go late. Maybe I'm not sure, but I think if he's highly touted and stuff, then I would imagine he'll be looking at trying to get him out in there in the first 4 rounds.
I agree. And then on the card, we've got Roman Fury, who's 3-0, v Martin Shkreli, who's 2-0. So a bit of an unbeaten opponent for Roman.
Yeah, obviously, a step up for him. He's got no amateur background, I don't think. And it's funny though because I was at work and I seen the open workout, and the guy he's fighting, he throws a really weird left hook. He throws his left hook really, really strange, and I don't think, even though he's 2-0, I don't really think he's got much about him, to be honest. But I'd probably say Roman on points.
Um, yeah, I mean, fair enough. But Roman, of course, he's 3-0 at the moment with the one knockout. I mean, yes, it's only 4 rounds. Roman got a good stoppage. I think it was his last fight against Bradley Davis, who's from Liverpool. It was a good stoppage from him. That was on a Channel 5 show. I think Roman, yeah, of course, he's learning as he goes. I think people will be pressurizing him to, take big fights, like saying, oh, why is he not in a 50-50 fight? Some people don't understand the route that some people need to go down, you know, what these journeyman sort of fights. I think, yeah, he's got an opponent who's 2-0, but like you said, um, he throws that left hook a bit funnily. But I mean, um, it's a chance for that Martin guy who he's fighting. It's almost like his world title fight because he may never get another opportunity on the big stage. But I think, yeah, Roman's learning on the job. I think Roman should get it done. Whether that's Martin throws a lazy shot and Roman catches him, who knows? But I think, yeah, I mean, it's 4 rounds. I would say Roman. I'm going to say Roman Fury 40-36, but I should think it should be a comfortable night for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously they're not gonna, and rightly so. That's the thing with the fan and stuff that the discredit opponents, and you know he'll if he beats this guy, he'll get no credit because it'll be this guy's terrible or this guy no one's ever heard of him. And I think when you've got a name like Fury, you're always gonna be scrutinized for everything you do anyway. And unfortunately that's I guess that's boxing, but
Mm,
I think having not having amateur background and stuff like that, I think for me he should probably take his time and take these fights, little step ups here and there, and like you say, learn on the job and see how far that it can go.
I don't think rush him into these big fights just yet. I think, yeah, take your time. Fights like these with unknown opponents, but they've got decent records, like winning records, then fair enough. So, yeah, we're both saying Roman on points.
Points, yeah, points, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Next up, we've got Ziad Mazov. Tough names to pronounce, but, I'm doing my best. He,
You do
he's
well.
he's 4-0 and he's against another Christian Lopez Flores. That's over 6 rounds in super lightweights. And yeah, that's 6 rounds. But yeah, I think that Ziad's good mates with Chisora and
I've not heard of him, to be honest. But again, it's probably the home fighter. It's probably one of those where you kind of know who's going to win, maybe.
yeah,
So it's
because
hard to,
Lopez is he's a seasoned journeyman.
yeah. So again, it's going to be about the experience, the exposure, and again, looking to put on a good performance. I think that's the thing on these kind of shows. And even though you're fighting a journeyman and stuff, it's about the performance and how you look doing it. A win again, a win's not going to just be enough. I don't think. Against a journeyman type fight. It's all about how you look, and I think yeah, he will win, but I think really the thing is how will it look? How will it look doing it? Will it just be a standard, 40-36 win, or however many
Six
rounds it is,
rounds.
6 rounds? So was it 60-53 or
Four.
60-54? Yeah, 60-54. So is it just going to be kind of one of them where when the fight's on, you just want it to be over, or is he going to stand out and look really good? That's obviously the kind of question for that fight.
Yeah, I mean he is the first. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe he's the first Saudi Arabian fighter to be on a Saudi card.
I'm not sure. Is it a Saudi? There's a guy, ginger beard, who fights. I've seen him on a few shows, a few big shows. I can't think of his name though. A ginger guy, beard,
I
and I'm
can't
sure
think
he's
of his
from.
name.
I'm sure he's from Saudi. I can't remember what card he was on, but I've seen him on a couple of cards, and he looks pretty decent to be fair. Um, but when I get off the thing, I'll try to find his name because I can't think what shows he's been on. I don't know if he was on. Who did
Fury,
Joshua? Who did Joshua box in Saudi?
Wallin.
No, it was a while ago. Not the last fight. It's going to annoy me now because I can't think of his name and I don't have my work phone to go on Google.
Should we come? Maybe it might pop up in a bit, like you might remember in a minute.
Yeah, if not, when I get off the call, I'll find it and send you his name.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think that Ziad. I mean, Lopez is a seasoned journeyman. I mean, we know how tough these journeymen are. I've seen him fight a few times at York. I think he was fighting the same night as you, or can't remember. But I've seen him fight a few times. This Lopez, he won't go down easy. But I think that, yeah, I do expect that Ziad to get maybe a 60-53 win and maybe a knockdown on the way. Who knows?
Yeah, I think yeah. Well, what's his record again? The home fighter.
4-0 with 1 KO.
Yeah, so I think will he look to put on his? I'm gonna say a stoppage. I'm gonna say he'll fight. He'll ground a stoppage out towards the back end.
So maybe fifth or sixth.
Yeah, fifth or sixth round, I reckon.
Fair enough. And then another good fight, which one of the fights that, well, there's many show stealers on this, but Jack McGann, who's 9-0 with one draw, the Louis Green 16-4, former Commonwealth champion and Southern Area, I believe. And then there was another belt I can't remember. But yeah, in my opinion, this is a great fight.
Yeah, I boxed on the same show as Louis Green. I think he boxed Lewis Croker in lockdown.
Oh yeah, and then you
When
fought Sam, yeah, Antwi.
did I fight Sam on that one or did I fight Liam Taylor on that one? I can't remember. Yeah,
I think it's one of them.
I think it was Taylor to be honest. But yeah, I think obviously there's a lot of praise on McCann. He beat Roberto Duran's son, didn't he, last time out, I believe, and I think he's a big puncher, is he? Does his
Yeah, yeah,
record say that? I think his record says that, and again, I think he's mandatory for
British.
the English or British, yeah. So again, he's probably going to want to look to put a performance, and I think Louis Green's gone over there with not a lot of pressure, and the hype's not really on him, and I'm sure he'll be looking to cause an upset. But what I've heard and the little bits I've seen, I don't think he'll cause an upset on that card. To be honest,
Oh, really? So are you saying Jack McGann?
yeah, I think McCann. I think not obviously just the hype. I've not really seen much of him, and I've not really watched much of Louis Green to be honest. But I think McCann does look like dangerous from the clips I've seen, and he's highly touted. He's highly regarded, and I think he's going to look to put on a show, and I think he's a super welter, isn't it?
Yeah, super welterweight this one.
Yeah. So
10
Louis Green
rounds.
boxed Croker at welterweight. So I'm not sure if he's boxed at super welter or if this is his first fight. I'm not sure,
Oh
but
no, no. Louis fought Sam Gilly, Louis Green, that is, he fought Sam Gilly in his
Sam,
last fight at super
did it?
welter. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
did he get beat?
he won the Commonwealth at super welterweight against a Scottish guy, Paul Keane.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I know his fight. I mean, I just didn't know whether he boxed. I think it's a real, like you say, it's a really good fight, and I think a lot of the fights we spoke about don't really think, but I think that one's a real, Louis Green's going to look to get back to where he's been, because he's been at title level, and McCann's going to look to kind of show why some certain people talk about him highly, and but I
Mm.
do think McCann could be a good performance for McCann to put on.
So you saying Jack McGann stoppage?
Yeah, later stoppage maybe.
Mm. But yeah, I think yeah, of course, Jack's 9-0. He's coming off a good win over Duran, as you mentioned. That I mean, that was a brutal knockout. I've been at his fight. It was against some Italian guy called Toff, who he made retire on the stool. That was at York. He won the IBO. I think it was Intercontinental, International, something like that. But yeah, I've been impressed with Jack. He is a big hitter, but at times he can be an awkward counter puncher sometimes as well. I think, yeah, Louis Green, I mean, former Commonwealth champion, it says it on itself. I mean, never backs down from a challenge. He's just got that dog in him. Won the Commonwealth, I mean, against Paul Keane. I think that was last year, and he defended it as well against Dean Sutherland. Um, fought Sam Gilly. I mean, that was a good war. I mean, he got dropped in round 5, but he got back up, and arguably it was close. But I gave it to Gilly based on that knockdown. I had 115, 113. It was close, but the judges had it silly wide. But yeah, I think this is going to be a tough fight for both of them. Of course, Jack McGann. I don't know who's got more to lose in this fight because, of course, Louis wants to get back onto winning ways, wants to sort of take Jack's mandatory spot away from him because Jack's mandatory for the British against Sam Gilly. But I mean, Louis Green, yeah, in a way, he wants to take away that British mandatory spot from Jack McGann. So I don't know who you would say the pressure's more on. Maybe would you say it's Louis' last shot? I'm not sure, but it will be a good fight. But if they're standing, the thing is, both of these lads can stand and trade when the going gets tough. I don't know. I think this will. It depends. I don't. Yeah, both of them are durable. I can't see an early knockout, but I can see towards the back end of the fight. When it's the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, when the going gets tough. Or it could be points because they're both durable. But I'm gonna say, if I'm honest with you, I'm gonna say Louis Green. Maybe late stoppage or points. But if I'm honest, I can see it going either way. But if I have to go with one, I'll say Louis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like you said, he's been hurt, and I think you know, again, I haven't seen much of McCann. I don't know you know, what he's got, what ability he's got, but I think, you know, I guess maybe McCann's, like you say, the highlight, like real knockout of his last fight. Maybe he walks Louis Green onto one early, and catches him cold. So I'm gonna wing this one. I'm gonna say McCann in the first 4.
Ooh.
So
I mean,
I could be. Yeah, I never get predictions right, but I think if he can walk, if Louis Green's tough and he'll come forward and fight. If McCann can use timing and time him and walk him onto a shot early and kind of catch him cold. He's been on these big shows in Saudi before, I believe.
mm.
So it's the first time for Louis Green, and maybe catch him early.
Ooh, maybe. So yeah, you're going with McGann stoppage
Early,
in 4.
early.
And then I'm saying Louis Green, either late stoppage or on points. But that one's could steal the show.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm saying McCann early, that doesn't mean it's a one-sided fight. That's just
Yeah, because
thinking
the
out the
first,
box. Kind
I mean,
could
like
do.
Prince Nassim v Kevin Kelly, that was a good fight, even though it ended in round 4.
Yeah, yeah, about 7 knockdowns or whatever, however many it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a good fight. Next up we've got Justin Hooney, who's 8-0 v Kevin Lorena, who's Lorena, however you say it. He's 13-2. Kevin Lorena. I'll just say Lorena. But yes, he's coming off 2 good wins against Muddy and can't remember now. Muddy and Ghazi, and he beat them both on. He beat both of them on unanimous decision. Yeah, those are 2 big wins for him. Of course, after that defeat to Daniel Dubois that he had on the Tyson Fury, Chisora card, the 3rd fight that was in December 22. He did actually put Dubois down in 3 times in round 1. I mean, he had Dubois
Yeah,
going, didn't he?
yeah. I actually remember. I didn't know it was him at first, but now you mention that, I remember. Yeah, it looked like it was all over. Yeah, I remember that, and I think Hooney, did he
He's 8-0.
Australian? Is he Australian?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know much about him, but you know, I think I've got to go with with the I don't know, with the away fighter, maybe he's on good form. He's got two good wins. He had a good performance against Dubois, and Dubois has gone on and done some brilliant things.
Hmm.
So I don't know enough about. Um, so I'm gonna say an upset and go for the away fighter.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, another one that I think could go either way. Of course, Lorena will be hungry. Of course, he's coming off two good unanimous decisions wins against two decent, I would say probably European level, the people he beat, but you know, European level's good level. Yeah, Justin, he's on a bit of a roll. He's eight wins, 4 KOs. They are moving him quite fast, but I do believe he had a big amateur background. Of course, he is signed with Matchroom. Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, Lorena. It could be his last chance, sort of thing. And the Hooney team, apparently, that's what Lorena's been saying, that they're looking past him potentially, but I think Hooney's good. Lorena, if I'm honest, I'm gonna go with Hooney. I think Hooney would be too much for Lorena. I'm gonna say, you know what? I'll say round 6 to Justin Hooney. TKO, I would say, but it will be a good fight.
So you know more about him than me. I'm just kind of rough guessing and chucking bets. But I think I didn't know he had a high amateur background, to be honest. With I don't know why I was thinking of someone else who's come from a rugby background or something. I don't know why I had that in my head, and I think if he's had a good amateur background, and like you say, they're pushing him fast, so they obviously believe in him. And it depends what the others got. I mean, they're not going to put him in there, Hooney in there, if the thing is going to get beat on a massive platform. So yeah, I'm gonna go with you. Actually, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
change it. I'll say Hooney. I'll say points.
Mm-hmm. It'd be funny if we're both wrong at this rate. Now you've changed.
I never get them right, to be honest with you. So
But yeah, that'd be a good fight. Wait, so are you gonna say Hooney stoppage or Hooney points? You said.
points, yeah.
Fair enough. And then another fight that could potentially steal the night. You've got Mark Chamberlain 14-0 v, of course, Gavin Gwynn 17-2-1. Another fight which just has war written all over it. Do you want to start with this fight?
Yeah, so I boxed on a couple of shows with Gavin Gwynn, and obviously Matt Chamberlain's highly regarded. I know there's talks about him fighting Sam Noakes. Um, so a lot of pressure on him that he's got to come through this, and and it's not going to be an easy task. Definitely not. Gavin Gwynn's tough. I remember, did I box on the show or when he boxed? He stopped McComb. Did he stop McComb?
I think he did. Yeah,
I
round
think I,
6 it
I
was.
think I boxed on that show. I think that was the Antwi card.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it was. It was.
And it came on very strong. But I think right now the momentum and stuff. I know he's won a lot of titles as well. He's won titles as
Yeah,
Gwynn and
Gavin Gwynn's for he won the British Commonwealth, current
well,
European champion.
yeah. So he's obviously been there, done it. But I just think, I mean, when did he when did he lose a European? Was it last time out?
Oh no, he didn't lose it. I think he's vacating because I had him on 2-3 weeks ago. He was saying it's not on the line, but I think he still got it, but I don't think it's on the
Oh,
line.
is it?
I don't know.
I think
No, but last time out, to be, if I'm honest, no offense to him, and he admitted it himself, he made it a tough
he didn't
night's
look good, did he?
work.
Yeah, I think I remember. I think for me, I think Chamberlain does look impressive at the minute. Tall southpaw, uh, a big puncher. Um, And I think if Gwyn's going to win, I think he's got to obviously take his shots, but then I think he's got to really old man him and kind of put it on him and a bit, I guess, rugged on the inside and spoil him and tie him up and mess him around a little bit. If he can do that, he may well pull a big win off. But I think for me, again, I'm not. It's funny because I'm not actually a massive thing on boxing. I don't watch everything. I don't. My uncle are probably best to do predictions than me. He loves it. But for me, I think Chamberlain might be too sharp and a bit too accurate and beat him on points.
Who would you say the powers with these two? Because they're both quite heavy-handed.
I think again, I've not watched much of either, but I think Gwyn is more. He'll walk you down. He'll outwork you like he did with McComb. Um, I think he just really made it horrible and made it ugly and kind of outworked him and put it on him a little bit towards the back end. But I think as far as power and you know, I think if Matt Chamberlain hit you with a 1-2 flush and Gwyn hit you with a 1-2 flush, I think Chamberlain probably has got the heavier hand and the sharper. But it's just if I'm going to say Chamberlain for the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gwyn can get through maybe the early rounds and then turn the pressure on. And because I don't think Chamberlain's ever been in a real hard fight.
Yeah, this
Um,
is a sort of step up. I mean, he has won international belts, but I think, this is his real step up. Of course, Gavin Gwynn. He's only lost to Cordina, and now I've put myself to the test now. Hang on.
Tennyson,
Pardon?
did James Tennyson beat him?
Tennyson, yes, thank you. Tennyson, that was, yeah.
Thought
Um,
it was. Yeah, again, Tennyson was a massive puncher.
It was.
But
I mean,
I don't.
I'm sad that Tennyson. I mean, because he was heavy handed. Then he had a shock defeat to some Mexican guy on a Chisora Parker card, and
Yeah,
ever since he just retired, which is unfortunate.
yeah, and it is, and unfortunately that's boxing. And I think, like I said, going back, Gwyn's only lost to them top fighters, but I think it's all going to be if Gwyn can get through it and put it on him and rough him up and turn it into a bit of a dogfight, then without a doubt he can beat Chamberlain. But I think Chamberlain might have just a little bit too much, and maybe beat him on points.
Mm. Yeah, I think it will be a dogfight. I think Mark, in a way, could stop, stick behind his jab as well. I think he's got the reach advantage. But Gavin Gwynn does get on the inside well. I think they're both fighters who love a scrap. Uh, of course, yeah, Gavin Gwynn could make it dirty for him. Of course, he's coming off. Um, he's won the British in good fashion. He's good, but I think I wasn't impressed with his last performance against forgot his name, Mazliel. But yeah, I think it'll be good while it lasts. Whether they get a knockout, they're both heavy hitters. I mean, but they're both durable, and I think that it could be one of the fights of the night. I think it could be, in my opinion, it could be a 12-round war. I think, the winner will probably fight Sam Noakes. I think, is Gavin Gwynn going to spoil that party? Of course, he's got the experience, when the going gets tough. And he's been in there with good names, beaten the better people. He's got a better resume. He's got a great resume, Gavin Gwynn. Is it his last chance? Possibly. But Chamberlain's the younger man. They're both strong. It'll be an interesting fight. But will Gavin, as you said, he could make it dirty at times. Try hold when he needs to. It'll be an interesting one. I think if I have to go with one, I think I reckon it'll be a split decision. It'll be very close on the card, but in my opinion, I think Mark Chamberlain will get it over the line. On points, split decision.
Yeah, good shout. I'm saying points as well, to be honest.
Mm. But that's I don't blink with that fight because I think don't be surprised if it ends in the first half of the fight, middle, back end, or if it's just a full out dogfight. But I can't expect. I mean, there could get a bit dirty at times and a bit messy, but I think it happens. And I like these good British domestic sort of fights on these shows because some of the best fights. I know this isn't for the British, but there's British domestic scene. There's some of the best fights out there.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to prove themselves, and like this thing's the same. Gwynn's gonna want to prove he's won the titles, he's won the reason, and Chamberlain's gonna prove that wants to prove that he's kind of the next best thing, and probably call Noakes out. For me, Noakes beats them both, but I like
I
Noakes.
agree.
I think he's one of the most favorite. I don't really watch much boxing and stuff, but whenever he's fighting, I do wanna put it on and watch him, and just to hope his KO run continues.
Yes, I mean it's always good when Sam's fighting. I think the winner will fight Noakes. I think it'll be a good fight, but I think Sam beats them both. But
Yeah, yeah, I do.
but yeah, it's a great card. And then you've got a WBA super welterweight title. Some Israel Mamedov 9-9. Pardon?
Madridov, innit? Was it? That's the Olympian, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fighting Kubravov, who's 20-0. So I mean, it's a good. If I'm honest, I was surprised to see this fight on the card, but it's an interesting one. If I'm completely honest, I haven't seen overly too much about either. Have you watched them?
I've I don't know the other one. I've seen Madridov. I think has he got one loss or one draw?
Oh, draw.
So I think I watched that fight, and I think he should have won. I can't remember, but I think Olympian is again another highly rated, and kind of fast tracked, against a 20-0 guy, and
He's
I
one to
can't.
watch, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't really say much on this fight because I don't know much about neither. Um, but I do think Majidov will win, and I think he'll stop him mid rounds.
Yeah, I'm gonna. 'Cause I can't really say much on it either, but I'm looking forward to this one. I think yeah, Majid is gonna win. Yeah, mid round 6, 7, or 8, sort of. Yeah, sevens. Yeah, 6, 7, 8.
The last third of the fight towards the back end, I don't know, 9 to 12 type thing, maybe I don't know.
Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
I think like you say, I think maybe not as far as 12, but kind of I don't know, 7, 8, 9, like around that point. Second, third, maybe. Second, third of the fight kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And now we've got Ray Vargas, Nick Ball for the WBC featherweight title. Another cracker on the card. Of course, Nick Ball coming off a win over Isaac Dogbo, and Ray Vargas coming off a defeat to Foster, I believe. And he's 36-1.
Yeah, obviously I boxed at Wembley when Nick Ball boxed
Low.
Low, yeah, and I think I didn't really speak to him much. I said hi, and that's about it. But he looks like the most laid back person um you've ever seen. We was in the change room together, and he's just laid back. Um, he just I don't know, he's quiet, doesn't have much facial expression. Um, but he can fight. And the one thing I seen today, like when I've seen bits of the weigh-in, is how big Vargas is. He looks huge. Looks tall, but I think obviously Ball is used to that. He's short. I think everyone who fights is going to be taller than him. And I think Ball must be hard to control in the fight because he doesn't kind of walk you down and close the gap. And I guess if he did that in a conventional way, you could kind of keep him at arm's length. The way he does it is, he comes in with unorthodox shots, and before you know it, he's on your chest and you can't do it. I think the only thing moving forward maybe on that is, imagine someone like Inoue who can punch and just time him. If the time him as he's coming in, it could be he's taking twice the force of the punch, and I think that's the only danger for him moving forward. I think he's a really tough fight for him against Vargas. I remember Vargas
Because
beat.
Nick could walk onto one, because of course Nick's more aggressive. He's a front foot. He's another fighter who likes staying in your face. But Vargas, of course, I'm not sure if you've seen the height difference, but another one that is crazy height difference.
Yeah,
Vargas could, keep him at bay, but I don't think he's that sort of fighter who, sort of controls the fight with his jab. He could do, but I think Nick Ball could potentially walk onto one if he gets over aggressive, if you know what I mean, because you could always walk onto a big shot. Um, but I think if Nick Ball gets in the range, I think he is dangerous, and it could be a dangerous fight, standing and trade if, Nick Ball likes doing that. It could be dangerous, doing that with a Mexican. Of course, he fought Dogbo. I mean, that was a decent fight for him, but probably biggest win of his career so far, and that low fight. But I think this is what, is it, people might be saying, it's a step too far for Ball. Do you believe it could be a step too far for Ball?
nah, I think he beat Dogboy, who is the biggest win, and looking at the featherweights and the champions, you got Lara and Wood and stuff like that. I think Vargas maybe the safest one. I'm not sure, but I think like I said, he looked massive at the weigh-in, and Nick lunges in a lot when he's closing the distance, and yeah, it is if he gets timed on the way in. I do think Nick Ball wins, um, but I think he goes through a rough patch in the fight. I think he gets hurt.
I think he might
Uh,
get. The thing is, I reckon he could walk onto one, maybe like round maybe five or four. He could walk onto one, but I think he would. He'll have a bad spell in the fight, but I think he will get through it. As that's what you're saying as well.
yeah, I think he'll get hurt. I think he will get through, and I do think he'll win. But I don't know why it's just popped in my head. I think he gets hurt with a body shot. I don't know why. I've never seen him get hurt with a body shot before. Um, I'm not in like I don't have any inside knowledge. I just think he's gonna lunge in and Vargas is gonna use them long limbs and that Mexican, body punching, and I think he's gonna lunge in, maybe not get hurt with an headshot, but he's gonna walk in and lunge in and get timed with a beautiful left hook to the body, maybe.
Yeah, I can see the same thing sort of happening. Maybe one of those hooks it tends to be. But yeah, I think Nick will be boxing quite well, in and out, have some good success in the opening four. And then I think, people will start thinking that he's gonna have a comfortable night, and then, that one time where the Mexican just, it just clicks one shot and
Yeah,
he goes down. But I think he'll get back up. I think he'll have a rough spell mid rounds. The sixth, the seventh, yeah, the sixth and the seventh, and then eighth, ninth. It could be cautious from Nick Ball, but I think Nick will eventually catch him. But I think eventually Nick will get to him. I think, yeah, I reckon it could be like a side of half of two fights, Nick early for, then mid round Vargas, and then Nick, stops him in the ninth or the 10th potentially. Yeah, I'm gonna say Nick Ball. I would like to see him do it, and I think he will do it. To be fair, yeah, and I'm gonna say Nick Ball. If I have to, no, I'm not gonna stick like a round on it, but I'm gonna say 9 or 10th for Nick Ball. Are you saying the same thing? Ball stoppage?
no, yeah, I think Nick's got a good corner as well. He's got a good team around him. He's close to him. I think he's going to win on points, and I think he's going to be not well, maybe fairly wide. I think he's going to control the first 4 or 5 rounds, like you say. I think he's going to get hurt, maybe six, have a bad 6 and 7, and then I think he's going to box well and win 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I think he'll win quite wide, but I think he'll have a rough patch in the middle. I think his corner work, his corner man work, the relationship he's got with his team, they'll direct him and get him through after being hurt. And it's funny because his corner man actually cornered me in my first England fight when I first ever boxed for England. And he's sound, he's a really nice fella and knows what he's talking about. So I think he's going to win on points, and I think he's going to be fairly wide on points. But I don't think the scorecard necessarily will reflect, obviously, what happens in the early rounds.
Fair enough. So you're going to say Nick Ball on points. I'm saying Nick Ball late stoppage. Co-main event. In my opinion, this is the one. This is the one for me. I would say, Zhilei Zhang v Parker. I mean, Zhang, of course, 26, 1-1. And Parker 34-3. I mean, Zhang, that one defeat came to Hrgovic. I mean, if you watch the fight, that was on the AJ Usyk second fight. I thought Zhang I wouldn't say it was a robbery, but I thought Zhang done enough. 6-4, 6-2-4. I mean, but yeah, Zhang's improved massively since that fight. Of course, two big knockout wins over Joe Joyce, which were, I mean, he cracked the chin that nobody else could. I mean, because Joe Joyce, in my opinion, still does have one of the best chins in boxing. Yeah, and Zhang cracked it. I think people were saying, "Oh, Zhang's got slow feet." But if you see those Joyce fights and the Hrgovic fight, he can close the gap very well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I wouldn't say he's got slow feet, but I wouldn't say he's got the quickest feet. I think he can close that gap well. Yeah, and he's got quick hands. I mean, he's 40 years old, but he's got quick hands. Yeah, with Joseph Parker, of course, he had a bit of a rough patch when he lost to Joyce. People were saying he's done, but he's bounced back since then against Opalu, Massey, and Simon Keane, which were good wins. And then he fought Deontay Wilder in his last fight, which was a great performance. Even though, Wilder was a bit gun shy, I thought it was a side of Parker that we hadn't really seen before. I think Parker was doing what Zhang does best, but and Wilder was gun shy in that fight. I mean, he did have Wilder hurt, but if I'm honest, I think, you can't stand and do that with Zhang. And Zhang's a fighter who won't be gun shy. He can close the gap well. I think Parker needs to use his jab in this fight.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, I think people say Zhang has slow feet, but I can imagine when you're in there with him, he's very effective with his feet. And like you say, he'll close the gap, and you won't even realize he's done it. So I think he's very deceptive with how good he is with his feet. I think, he chinned Joyce. I think Joyce, as good as his chin was, it was always kind of an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, because Joyce does leave his hands,
and I think for this fight, I think, like you said, Parker had a brilliant plan. Him and Andy Lee had a fantastic plan against
Wilder.
And I think Zhang has more to his game than Wilder. That's the thing. I do think early Parker's got to be careful, but I do think Zhang will slow, and I think the thing versus Joyce fight,
tire, to be fair, because
yeah,
he could overload. Because Parker's got good head movement, Joe's got good feet. He could make Zhang miss, and he can make Zhang. Possibly, he could make Zhang overload at times and make him look silly at times, and get out of range in time. Can Zhang cut the corners off the ring? Possibly, but I think, Zhang, the first half of the fight is where Parker needs to, you always need to be switched on in boxing throughout the whole fight. But I think, Zhang's going to be dangerous like early on. You know, you may
Yeah,
lose the opening three, the opening four, the opening five, but you've got to, make him tire himself out, sort of thing.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, it'll be a good fight. It's another tough one. It's one of the hardest fights to call in boxing at the moment. Um, yeah, I think, yeah. What's your thoughts on it? And
I think I think Parker can't give Zhang any confidence early. You got to use his feet, use his head movement, make Zhang miss, and slow him down. Stick the odd jab and the straight right hand to the body often. And I think if he can do that and not get tagged early, Zhang will slow. And then I think
oh,
Park,
maybe Parker might. I might be seeing it wrong. I mean, people see it differently. I mean, you see it differently to me, and somebody else might agree with me. It's just, it's a good one to weird one to call. But I think, yeah, I mean, Parker might, try and start fast, but I think that is Zhang's sort of style. Zhang is the guy to start fast. If you get what
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah, that's what I mean. And I think so early on, Parker has to be careful and just stick the odd jab and right hand to the body, move, use his feet, and then as it gets to 7 and 8, then turn it up, then start putting the
Then
pressure on.
start going through the gears.
Yeah, and I think the form Parker's on, I'm gonna say Parker late stoppage.
Oh, you're gonna say Parker stoppage? Do you think?
Late, yeah, late. I think Zhang's gonna slow drastically towards the back end.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that interesting. I think if there's a stoppage, in my opinion, I would say Zhang if there's a knockout in the fight. But yeah, I think similar. It could be a good fight. I think Zhang will be dangerous in the opening six. Parker, you know, good. I don't think, Joseph will be giving much away, or he might start quick. Who knows? I think Parker, will get that jab sort of going. But I think, yeah, as you say, if it gets to that, that seventh, the eighth, how can Zhang, do with if it goes to the seventh, the eighth? I think that's where, Joseph will start to take over. I think Zhang, if I'm Zhang, I would want to try and get his man out there early. Don't let Joseph get his jab going. Close that gap. Don't let him, try and cut the corners off. But yeah, I think if Zhang wins, it'll be in the first six. But I think, yeah, I think Parker will get it over the line. I think if I'm going to say Parker on points, I think, maybe it could be 5-1. Parker might nick an early round. Who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna say Joseph Parker. I'm not gonna say. I think, yeah, Zhang will slow down, but I think, Parker will just be picking him off with the jab, making him miss. Sliding, rolling the shots. Making him look silly in the later stage. I don't think he'll ever fight fire with fire because I think Zhang will always have the power over him.
I
But
don't
yeah.
towards the back end of the Wilder fight, he was putting it on him. He hurt Wilder, and he was throwing some big shots. And I just think, unless Zhang gets his respect early, if Zhang hurts him early and Zhang's on the front foot, then he's controlling the pace. When you've got someone hurt and you're in control of the pace, you won't get as tired because you're controlling it. Whereas I think Parker's got to offset him and upset the rhythm a little bit.
Mm. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, if I'm honest, I'm saying Parker points. You're saying Parker. What would you say? Pardon?
Someone will just come and talk to me.
Oh,
So you're all right.
but yeah. I'm saying Parker points. Are you saying? Yeah, you said Parker late stoppage. You said, yeah, 9,
Yeah,
10, 11th sort of.
10, 11, 12.
Fair enough. But yeah, so the main event, AJ, Francis Ngannou, over 10 rounds, unfortunately. I'm not sure why it's a 10 rounder, not 12. But yeah, AJ 27-3. Of course, Francis 0-1. But I mean, if you watch that Fury fight, personally, Ngannou was robbed in that fight. I had him 8-2, and that knockdown as well that he had, don't forget. I thought, in that fight against Tyson, the opening two, Tyson was getting the better, that, and then there was a lot of waiting for that in that Ngannou Fury fight. They were both waiting too much. There was not much action going on at times, and they were both just waiting for the other one to go first. And it's just, I don't think that was a good fight to watch. I think Ngannou was robbed. I think, Fury overlooked Ngannou. I think that, they were making it out to be a real hard fight, but sometimes you do that even though you think it's going to be an easy night's work. Yeah, I thought Fury overlooked him, but I think Francis won 6-4 that night. I think AJ won't let Francis wait. I think AJ will take it to him. Of course, yeah. When AJ lost to Usyk, he's come back since then. I mean, not the best performance against Franklin or Hellenius, but I was impressed. I mean, the switch to Ben Davison, arguably probably one of the best coaches in the world, in my opinion, at this moment in time. I think that was a good move for AJ, moving from Derek James to Ben Davison. I think that was a good call from AJ. Do you agree?
Um, yeah, he looked good against one. It just confused me, I think, with that because Ben was so close to Fury, and then now he's training
AJ.
Joshua, and now he's saying Joshua can beat Fury, and I don't really get into that. I think, as far as the fight's concerned, I think Fury trained, but I don't think he was mentally prepared for a hard night. I think no matter what they were saying, Fury thought he was just going to turn up, wipe the floor with him, earn a load of money, and fight Usyk. And I've been in fights similar to that myself when you think you've kind of got it in the bag, and when you get in there and it's a different kettle of fish, and it's very hard to adapt, and you can't adapt
I don't
and
think
change.
AJ is going to make that same mistake. I don't think AJ will
No,
be looking past Ngannou
no,
because he's seen footage of him since, and Tyson didn't really know what to expect. Thinks, oh, it's an Eminem, a UFC fighter. It should be an easy night. But I think AJ will not make that mistake.
no, definitely not, and that's because of how Ngannou did versus Fury. AJ won't make that mistake. Had Ngannou not fought Fury, AJ would be making that mistake now. Um, but he's not, and I think AJ is going to push the pace, and I just think he's got to be very careful not to get hit because Fury's elusive, and that'll have been tricky for Ngannou. Joshua's there in front of you, and if Ngannou hits you, you're going to get hit. But I think Joshua's got to put it on him, and he has to get the respect early, and take the power that Ngannou's got. And I think he makes it. I think he's got to make him uncomfortable, make him fight at a high pace, and keep it on
And
him.
let
And
him breathe almost, sort of, as well.
don't let him, on the front foot. Keep him on the back foot, and I think that's what Joshua's got to do. Obviously there's questions. Can Joshua take the power? Was Ngannou versus Fury a fluke? All these questions, and I think Joshua's going to be switched on, and I think Joshua wins.
Mm.
Um, I'm just not sure how, but I do think Joshua wins.
Yeah, I don't think AJ will make that mistake. I think he'll be alert from the beginning. I think it could sort of could start cagey, first 2 rounds. It'll be a bit to see, about respecting the power. But I think, if AJ will eventually, get going. I think this will be I think this will be done in 6. I think, Tyson, if I'm honest, Tyson Fury should have beaten him in 4. And there was times where Tyson Fury, there was chances where Ngannou, was there for the taking and there to be hit. Like you can't, people can't say, oh, it was he's there because he is there to be hit. And I think AJ will capitalize on, because I've seen mistakes in Francis's fight against Tyson. I think AJ will capitalize on his mistakes, and I do believe AJ will get him out in there in 6 rounds.
Yeah, of course it will. There's obviously stuff, and like I say, Fury's elusive, Joshua's not, and Joshua sits down on his shots and will try punch through Ngannou. I think all the questions are what happens if Joshua gets hit? What happens if he gets hurt? Does he get hit and get hurt? That's another thing. And all these like questions that make you wonder. Also, what's Ngannou going to do when he gets put under that pressure? If he has to work at a high work rate, how does he go about
Well, I mean,
that?
it could be a matter of who lands the meaningful, I mean, the first big shot of the fight, where,
Yeah, and I think you've got to say that's going to be Joshua. I think
yeah,
Joshua's going to be more technically sound than Ngannou, and I do think he lands a good shot first and kind of keeps in control. He just can't switch off and get caught by Ngannou. But it's funny, I seen the press conference, and the bottom line is Francis Ngannou or maybe John Jones are the baddest men on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt. If Francis Ngannou got hold of Joshua or Fury outside, Joshua and Fury's in a lot of trouble,
yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they fought in a UFC fight, I mean, that wouldn't be a question on who would win due to, the wrestling, the kicks.
Just everything, yeah. I think there's only one winner if that happens, and I think that shows, I guess, the power because like we're saying in MMA, there's only one winner. That Ngannou, that's it. Boxing, and even in boxing, we're still umming and ahhing on who's going to win and stuff like that. So it's funny actually.
Mm. But yeah, so are you saying AJ points or AJ stoppage?
I think AJ points, but I think it gets dropped.
Ooh.
And I think if it gets dropped early, Ngannou wins. If it gets dropped late, he'll survive and win on points.
Mm. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Darren saying AJ on points. I'm saying AJ inside 6 rounds. I mean, Darren, it's been a pleasure getting you on pleasure getting you on as always. And thank you for your time.
Anytime, mate. Thanks for having me on again.
Anytime, Darren. Bye, mate.
See you, pal.